Our laws, the people's laws, were never intended to allow a corporation this much power. My name is Jason Fick. In August of 2018, I filed a massive lawsuit against Facebook for tortious interference, unfair competition, fraud, and civil extortion. Many have underestimated it. One person even said it is, quote, easily dismissible. What the tech giants don't realize is my lawsuit is a Trojan horse. At first glance, it may seem like this is just another content lawsuit immune under CDA, but it is not. Facebook has done a great job of confusing people, conflating terms, creating vague and ambiguous rules, and for what? To create fear and distortion. To misdirect people's attention away from what they are really doing wrong. Facebook is playing a sleight of hand trick, but I learned how to look past the smoke and mirrors, and today I'm here to reveal to you the secrets of this magic show. Is Facebook a publisher or platform? What if I told you they're both, and it doesn't matter? What if I told you that it has never mattered? I'm going to prove to you today that Facebook's entire business strategy is illegal, and it has nothing to do with being a publisher or a platform. Today I'm going to prove to you that you can stop these companies from doing whatever they want to do. I'm going to explain how. But before I get started into that, I want to give you a little bit of background on me because I'm not as famous as some of these people. I worked in social media since 2010 and built an audience of over 25 million fans, despite Facebook's interference. The reason I got into social media may come as a huge shock to you all. I was arrested in Baltimore for conspiracy to commit first-degree attempted murder for taking a cell phone video. I wasn't involved in the small fight that I caught a video of, and no one was seriously hurt. I should have been constitutionally protected, but I wasn't. I spent the next 2 months in the Baltimore City Detention Center, which is now closed, mind you, due to the corruption, fighting multiple life sentences for taking a cell phone video. That should not happen in America. I turned to social media in order to get my message out, that the governmental corruption exists and we need to fight it. That's what Donald Trump is doing. I'm here to fight it. Social media gave us all a voice and ability to reach an audience, and I plan to use my reach to tell my story. I wrote a book called Social Justice about my experiences in Baltimore, and I was going to use my audience to distribute that book. Facebook offered us everyone reach and distribution. We just had to build it. In return, we gave them our data and created free content for their product, Newsfeed. Facebook baited us in and then switched the game on all of us, and just to financially enrich themselves. Most of you have no idea what reach once used to be. In 2012, I had 8.6 million fans. I was one of the largest single admins on the platform. I made a cold call to College Humor and asked them if they were interested in me sending content to their website, sending people to their website. They said no. We only work with corporate partners that can send at least 1 million hits a month. So what did I do? I just mentioned their website and sent over 1 million hits and more than 380,000 unique hits in under 5 minutes. That was reach. I accomplished in 5 minutes what it took their corporate partners a month to do. That is the real reason that is the real reason why Facebook needed to take back organic reach. Corporations couldn't compete. Paid reach had little to no value because guys like me had massive organic reach, and we were simply more effective than the corporations. When Facebook started their sponsored advertising program, it was designed to help the wealthy corporations and hurt the little guy, like me, like you. So how did they get rid of us? Facebook created deliberately vague and ambiguous rules so they could selectively enforce them to hurt low-value participants and help the high-value participants. Now, I don't want you to just take my word for it. Tessa Lyons, Facebook's newsfeed manager, said, and I quote, "What we intend to have happen is this spammy, low-quality content loses a lot of traffic, while the high-quality publishers continue to do well." After she made that statement, I lost 99.9% of my reach overnight. I went from making $300,000 a month to making 6. Facebook's expressed intentions were to unfairly tip the playing field away from some and in favor of others based on quality, not objectionable content. In October 2016, Facebook then unpublished 14 million of my fans overnight and without reason. I lost everything. My business was destroyed. I could no longer market my book. The TV series script I wrote about my experiences in Baltimore, gone. I even signed a brilliant app, like nothing else out there. And that too had to be tabled. Facebook has taken it all from me. Like I suspect they've taken it all from you. And if they haven't yet, they're going to. My legal team was actually supposed to be here today, and unfortunately some of them couldn't show up, but I do want Jeff Graber to stand. Jeff Graber got into this with me in the very, very beginning, in fact. He left his job at a law firm to take this case. The reason he had to leave is because he went to Sean Callagy at Callagy Law. Sean Callagy was the only one with the tenacity to shoulder this huge of a fight. Obviously, you know, this is a big fight on it. Sean's motto is to crush fear and distortion, the same fear and distortion that Facebook has brought upon its users. I want to thank you for standing up for me, for standing up for this country, and standing up for what's right. During the 2016 election, I supported President Trump with my 25 million fans. However, my pages were not political. They were humorous and entertaining. I was not famous, but I was effective. And I was a danger to Facebook's agenda. Just a small group of my colleagues and I constitute over 163 million fans. Gone. Facebook does not offer customer service to help average users. Consider this for a second. Facebook hired 22,000 new employees to restrict your content, but not offer you any more customer service. Think about that for a moment. Not to provide, I couldn't get any help from Facebook, obviously, but I knew my competitor had a dedicated Facebook rep. Why? Because they had spent over $22 million in advertising. I hadn't. I don't have a dedicated rep, do you guys? Anybody here have a dedicated rep? No. Hell, I can't even get a Facebook rep to call me back. I asked my competitor if they could help me get my pages back through their rep. They said, sure. Do you know what Facebook told them? We're not going to restore the pages for Mr. Fick, but if you own them, we can do it for you. Facebook had made a quid pro quo agreement with my competitor to reactivate and grow my pages, not for me, oh no, for my competitor. The only difference being who owned them. Facebook had restored the exact same content they had unpublished for me for my competitor. So my case is not about the quality of content. It proved my content is irrelevant. And more specifically, it's relevant to who owns the pages and who pays them more. My lawsuit is about much more than just my business being destroyed. It is about proving that Facebook's entire business strategy is illegal. I'm not just fighting for me. I'm fighting for everyone. I'm fighting to stop them entirely. Facebook's business strategy, the whole damn thing, is designed to tortiously interfere with any competitive business, and it is illegal. I have spent years working on this. In fact, I've listed over 100 individual quotes from Facebook that exposes their illegal activity in their own words. For example, Tess Alliance, Facebook's newsfeed manager, said, and I quote, "So taking action against pages and domains who repeatedly share this type of content and reducing their distribution, removing their ability to monetize, and removing their ability to advertise is part of our strategy." What she just said is the very definition of tortious interference. So what is tortious interference? When one entity intentionally damages someone else's contractual or business relationship with a third party causing economic harm. Facebook is intentionally trying to damage our third-party advertising income through the removal, reduction, and replacement of information. so they can profit, not us. Tess Alliance also said, quote, if we can reduce the spread of those links, we reduce the number of people who click through, and we reduce the economic incentives that they have to create the content in the first place. The content is irrelevant. It is the actions they are taking to reduce the economic incentives that is illegal. Sheryl Sandberg said, quote, the misinformation and fake news that we see on Facebook is financially motivated. It's spammers. People who are trying to generate clicks to low-quality websites covered in ads so they can generate impressions and ad revenue. So it's okay for Facebook to collect ad revenue, but if you collect ad revenue, you must be a spammer or fake news. Got it? If you want to make money online from third-party advertisers, we are going to label you and remove you. Either you pay Facebook or you're gone. Doesn't that sound like extortion to you? When Facebook can't come up with a label, they will just call it problematic content. What is problematic content? Tess Alliance explained. When we say problematic content, it's content that that we are talking about is content that violates the values that we hold, but might not violate our community standards. So it violates their values, but not their rules. Okay, which value is that? Economic, ideological, maybe political? How is it that it's possibly good faith effort to protect children from harmful content, which was the legislative intent of the CDA? How can it violate the CDA's intent in good faith if it doesn't even violate their own rules? Simply put, Facebook created terms like spam, clickbait, inauthentic, fake, low quality, misinformation, and yes, problematic content as a pretext for Facebook to tortiously interfere with your ability to make money from third parties. So, does Section 230 of the CDA protect company from tortious interference with your third-party relationship? The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals said, quote, when Congress passed Section 230, it did not intend to prevent the enforcement of all laws. Tortious interference has nothing to do with the quintessential publisher function or the passive hosting of content. A good way to understand this is to use the analogy of an at-will state. You can fire somebody at will for no reason. However, if you say you're fired because you were female, black, Jewish, or handicapped, you then admitted to discrimination and broken a different law. Big tech is us chasing our tails with the misrepresentations of the CDA community. They want us to believe that anything and everything they do is protected under Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, but it's not. I'm going to tell you why. I'm sure you've all heard, are they a platform? Are they a publisher? They're both, and it doesn't matter. Pay close attention to what I'm about to tell you, because this is the most important thing that you need to understand. The true delineation is not between publisher and platform. It is between service provider and information content provider. Let me say that one again. Service provider and content provider. Publisher and platform is just a misdirection. They want us to focus on C1 and C2 of the CDA. C1 says, no provider or user of an interactive computer service shall be treated as the publisher or speaker of any information provided by another information content provider. C1 implies that someone, the first party, is treating the service provider as a second party, as the publisher or speaker of yet another party. It's a third-party lawsuit, most often seen in defamation cases. The courts have distorted this interpretation of C1. In fact, Eric Goldman, a law professor in California, accurately pointed out the courts relied on 230C1 for facts fitting 230C2 paradigm. In the Seeks versus Facebook and Lancaster versus Alphabet cases, the Northern District of California gave C1 immunity for a case fitting the facts of a C2A case. They got it wrong. C1 cannot mean the same thing as C2A. Legislators do not enact laws that are redundant or unnecessary. This misrepresented redundancy would then effectively mean we didn't publish it, we didn't speak it, we didn't create it, so we can do whatever we want. That's not right. C1 would in essence be absolute sovereign immunity from all legal liability because it lacks a measure of good faith, like C2A has. And remember, Section 230 was not intended to prevent the enforcement of all laws. C1 cannot mean what the Northern District of California has interpreted it to mean. So what does C2A mean? C2A says any action voluntarily taken in good faith to restrict access to or availability of material that the provider or user considers to be obscene, lewd, lascivious, filthy, excessively violent, harassing, or otherwise objectionable, whether or not such material is constitutionally protected. So C1 is about allowing content to remain, and C2A is about a good faith effort to remove objectionable content. The intention of the CDA, Section 230, was to protect children from harm, not to determine the quality or the accuracy of content, not to restrict opposing political viewpoints, and certainly not to allow tortious interference of business relationships. It was never intended to protect them from all laws. Mr. Goldman said that my case was, quote, easily dismissible. He even poked fun that I would be, quote, pissed as a reference to facts Northern District Court relied on in its dismissal. Mr. Goldman and the Northern District Court were wrong in considering Facebook's incorrect facts. Explain why. The court is supposed to consider facts to be true and in the most favorable light of the plaintiff, not the defendant. Facebook falsely claimed I had created a page dedicated to urinating in public. That was wrong. It's misinformation, fake news, and it was an outright lie. But the judge included the incorrect fact in his dismissal, which implied the judge was biased in favor of Facebook. Starting to catch on? But besides the false factual claim, the facts in my case better fit the restrictions of objectionable material under C2A. I'm not treating Facebook as a publisher or speaker of my content, which would be C1. After Facebook told my attorneys they are protected by C2A, Facebook didn't even argue C2A. Why? Because maybe it's because it was so obvious that restoring my exact same content for my competitor, not for me, exposed the bad faith content restricting practices. Facebook did a 180 and threw C1 out as a defense. But they did it for a C1 case, excuse me, a facts fitting a 230 C2 case paradigm. And that would be if the CDA applies at all. We caught them in their own lies. We believe the Ninth Circuit Court will look more carefully at the complaint as it was pleaded, not as Facebook twisted it or lied about the facts. I should also say Mr. Goldman also thought it humorous to point out that a donation link on my website, jasonfick.com. I'm broke, and I'm fighting this for everyone. If I succeed, I change the world. And I'm doing this without anybody's financial help. If Facebook maintains status quo, they will be able to continue to break any and all laws they so choose. But we can stop them. Now I'm going to explain how. A First Amendment argument won't work. C2A says even if the materials are constitutionally protected. So get that out of your heads. Free speech won't work. Publish your platform won't work. Show of hands here, real quick. Who in this room knows what CDA section 230 F3 says? There are not very many people. F3 is the most important subsection of the CDA and it's been completely overlooked. F3 provides the legal definition of what an information content provider is. And it reads, the definition of the term information content provider means any person or entity that is responsible in whole or in part for the creation or development of information provided through the internet or any other interactive computer service. A content provider is an entity that is responsible in part for the development of information. Keyword, development. Development is to make active or promote the growth of. Let me say that one again. To make active or promote the growth of. Anyone here know anything that they make active or promote the growth of? They promote CNN, promote the left. What about the other big tech companies? It's almost a stupid question. They're promoting something. Facebook and the other big tech companies' agendas to promote the growth of information they value makes them, by legal definition, information content providers. The Ninth Circuit Court confirmed exactly that. Quote, if the service provider passively displays content that is created by a third party, entirely by a third party, then it is only a service provider with respect to that content. But as the content that it is responsible in whole or in part for developing, the website is also a content provider. What happens when a service provider like Facebook is also an information content provider? As the Ninth Circuit Court has held, where it is very clear that the website directly participates in developing, the immunity will be lost. Facebook loses immunity when they are developing information. Tessa Lyons said, quote, if it says sponsor, that means someone spent money to increase its distribution. To increase its distribution is to promote the growth of the information. Increase is just a synonym for the word promote or develop. So what is it to promote? It's to give it a higher position in organization, organizational priority, right? Tessa Lyons said, quote, the problem that the newsfeed algorithm is solving is, what order should I show newsfeed stories? The newsfeed prioritizes them. So Facebook controls the organizational priority of the information, but are they responsible in part for it? Mark Zuckerberg told Congress, advertisers tell us who they want to reach, and then we do the placement. Facebook is paid to take responsibility in whole or in part for the placement and organizational position. Facebook clearly knows the value of this organizational position. Quote, you're a lot more likely to see a story that's in the first spot of your newsfeed than one that's in the 3,000 spot. Facebook is paid to take responsibility for the prioritization and development of information. So guess what happens to the rest of us that were promised reach and distribution? This is a mind blow. Facebook said, quote, so more content displaces some of the content from publishers as well as from other pages. Tessa Lyons just acknowledged that more content must displace other publishers and pages in newsfeed. What I've established here is Facebook is an information content provider paid to displace competitive users' information in the newsfeed. Facebook's advertising business model is designed to tortiously interfere with and remove the competition so they can displace your information for information they make money on, not you. Facebook is in part responsible for developing and promoting the growth of information for their sponsored advertising partners. And it is, by legal definition, an information content provider, void of CDA immunity entirely. They are a developer. Game, set, and match, Facebook. But wait, there's more. Could Facebook development of information be said any clearer than, quote, we're working to set incentives that encourage the creation of these types of content. They're developing information. It's clear as day. And it's right in front of us. The CDA was supposed to protect service providers from liability for the neutral, passive hosting of content, not the tortious interference of business relationships, and they intend to develop information to select participants who they value more. It's illegal. Section F3's development distinction is how we are going to stop them. Recognizing these tech giants as developers of your business, developers of your politics, developers of information, hell, developers of your life. Facebook is paid to promote, advance, improve, grow, boost, and yes, develop information to select publishers Facebook values more. In other words, to put this in the simplest terms possible, tortious interference is not the quintessential publisher function, and a service provider who is responsible in part for developing information is also an information content provider, and in the eyes of the law, they lose their CDA immunity. Facebook didn't publish our information. It didn't speak our information. It didn't create our information. It developed their information, and it is responsible in part for promoting the growth of that information. Therefore, by legal definition under CDA F3, Facebook is an information provider that has no legal immunity. Again, my name is Jason Fick. I may not be famous, but I am relentless in the pursuit of what is right. This may have been a very technical speech, and I apologize for that, but I want to leave you a couple of final thoughts here. President Trump, Senator Hawley, Senator Cruz, Senator Gates, who I just met, Governor DeSantis, and the Attorney General is pursuing the antitrust cases. I can help. Call me. If you want to understand this better, actually, we are going to be doing a 12 to 1 o'clock lunch and learn panel at Cal Law, and actually, they're all going to be there to discuss a lot more of the legal technicalities, if this wasn't technical enough for you. To contact me or to purchase my book, Social Justice, please visit my website at jasonfick.com. I just want to thank everyone again that was involved in getting me here today. Katja, Alex, Tom, David, Derek, and Mark. Special thanks to Cal Law for taking this on and helping us all fight these tech giants. And I want to leave you with one final thought. Some said that Donald Trump couldn't be president. He proved them wrong. Some say I can't stop Facebook. You know what we say in the social media world? Hold my beer and watch this.